that's the start of our intro. Hello, this is Compound Interest Stock Guy, and we're here with Scott Sycamore. This is going to be an interesting conversation about the cannabis industry in 2020. We're gonna cover a lot of subjects. Basically, USA. We're gonna talk a lot about USA states that are coming about. We're gonna maybe talk about Europe and Canada and a few other things. It's going to be a surprise, free flowing, probably around a 30 to 35 minute time horizon. So should be good.
Yeah, nice and a legit length. Blame Canada, blame Canada. Dun, 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 dun.
So yeah, we also want to disclose we're not financial advisor. This is just for entertainment information purposes. Do not buy or sell based on anything we talk about. Buy or sell if you did your own research, due diligence, and you like the investments you're pursuing.
And don't be an idiot.
And give us thumbs up and share the video. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Oh yeah, I also want to share about Scott Sycamore. Oh, why don't you share your one of your most prolific interviews you did with NWA guy Jerry Heller? Yeah, Heller.
Yeah.
Please tell.
Yeah, it's, I guess, one of my most viewed videos on my channel. Yeah, basically, Jerry Heller was the man. You know, he was an old Jewish guy from California, and he ended up becoming the manager of NWA and best friends with Eazy-E back in the late '80s and all that. And long story short, about, I don't know, 4 years ago or something, I just connected to him on Facebook and sent him a message, and we talked, and I said, yeah, let me come out to your house in Calabasas, California, where all the rappers live, like Drake and stuff. And me and my buddy went out, sat in his living room. There was, you know, Eazy-E pictures and stuff all over the place, and NWA merchandise. And we interviewed him for about an hour. It's not the greatest audio, but it's there. And I recorded it on my phone. Like, you know, I basically put my phone to look like this on the table and just recorded us talking. So it was cool, man. He had a really good career before NWA, a lot of famous musicians. He's deceased now. He passed away like 2 years ago or something. So unfortunately, I won't get to meet him anymore. But yeah, man, so everyone check that out. The video's called A Ruthless Interview with Jerry Heller, because they did Ruthless Records, haha, him and Eazy-E.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Leave the link maybe in the comment section, or I'll leave it below in my video, so you guys can check it out. It's pretty cool. I mean, NWA was, people underestimate what NWA was about in the gangster rap, and it could even be said that's a big part of how cannabis became legal, because I mean, these people are powerful people. I mean, people underestimate how powerful Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa and all these guys are. Like, they underestimate them.
Well, a whole generation of, you know, let's say people, I'm 38 now, but let's say people a little bit older than me, a little bit younger than me, whatever, you know, we all grew up listening to that music, and now we're old enough to, like, vote and run for public office and be on the city council and shit like that. So obviously our views on cannabis are well shaped and well differentiated from, let's say, you know, generations past. Even though our parents' generation, the hippies and all that, smoked a ton of dope, but now there's more of a move for that legalization and all the you know, things that come with it, sort of the social justice aspects to it as well. But yeah, man, I mean, The Chronic, the biggest gangster rap album ever, right? That's it. That came out in 91, something like that, 92, and it's just like, you know, it's
West Side Connection.
Yeah, man, so it's been almost 30 years since The Chronic, and it's just been a slow, steady but slow cannabis, you know, growth and legalization since then, really, if you think about it. Cali has had medicinal marijuana since 1996, my man. So, I mean, that's not
So,
that long after.
uh, I grew up in, I guess, the 90s, in teenage age, like when I was about 10 years old and I was listening to Bone Thugs and Harmony and Puff Daddy and Notorious B.I.G.
And
and
don't forget Mace.
oh yeah, I
Tough
had Mace. I had the Mace CD. I loved Mace. I thought he was really cool back in the day. And
Tupac
obviously
too.
Tupac.
Yeah,
I had the most CDs of Tupac. California Love, and all that stuff.
yeah.
But I mean, I don't want to go too on a rant on this stuff. But basically, that was some pretty legitimate stuff. But do you
Yeah.
remember the kind of media stuff going on in California because you're there, right? I'm a lot far away from the scene. I can only hear the echoes.
Well, sure. I'll give you another example, and then we can move on if you want. But not only did I interview Jerry Heller, I'm actually in the NWA movie, Straight Outta Compton. I mean, I'm in a giant crowd of people, so it's not like you can see me or whatever. But I actually went to where they filmed, like the concert scenes or a bunch of them in Santa Monica, a couple years back, and it's like, there you go. And it's like they had the actors playing the rappers. I saw the guy Paul Giamatti playing Jerry Heller. And it's like, yeah, it's only because I'm here. I'm in Cali. I live a few miles away from that's even possible. So, I don't know, but I'm out of the game now, bro. No more
Yeah,
music or
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, I mean, I hear you. I just think that that's something that people aren't really emphasizing, and in the future, that may be it's there's no marketing in Canada, but I knew that these rappers would have an influential role because I was invested into TGIF when they had Corrupt, and I knew Corrupt. I used to listen to Corrupt, so I
Dog,
was
yeah,
it made sense to me to invest into something, uh, and then other guys like Wiz Khalifa and stuff, but they're not
right.
really able to
No.
be moguls in the game yet, really. But in the next couple years, maybe like things are going to be more free flowing.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, let's talk about that for a second, which is it seems like no matter how well known or famous you are, like as a musician or something like that, it doesn't mean you can bring a public company, including in the cannabis world, to success. Like, look what happened with Gene Simmons, right? Invictus. Look at what's happening. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about 1933 or TGIF, whatever it's called now, but yeah, they have Corrupt. I know Canopy works with is it Drake and Snoop Dogg or both of
Drake,
them? Yeah.
Snoop Dogg, they have Martha Stewart and Seth Rogen.
Man, yeah, all the big names, and yeah, they're only able to get those names because they were already the leader. Sorry, my phone was going off. But I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter that you're a big rock star. Like if you come out with a company and it just doesn't do well, or you're connected to it, or you're on the board or whatever, really your fame doesn't mean shit because people have to buy your products in this new space. Just because they bought your albums before, it doesn't mean that people will go rushing out and buy your
Uh,
pre-rolls or whatever.
Yeah, I agree, man. There's a lot of different movements going on. There's like the low cost movement, and then
Oh yeah.
there's just the fact that I think the way that the rappers and all that stuff are kind of gonna get their product sale is just from the edibles and beverages and stuff like that. I think
Well,
that's
they're going
really
to make their money. These rappers, especially, they're all about money, so they know how to make their money. Even if the business ultimately fails that they're involved in, they're still going to cash out at the top, right? And when it's
oh yeah,
hot,
I agree, man.
right?
That's something us retail investors like the more I'm learning, there's a lot of people exposing this fraud from Wall Street and all stuff like that. We have ourselves like the house of cards against us, and then a lot of these institutions and banks they have the house of cards all in their favor.
Well,
They're basically at the dinner table with all the big elites who are gonna start pumping the markets and spend like $20 million or something like that. They got a big group of people and they're gonna pump up these stocks. and they're probably getting the inside info. You're like, yeah, in a week we're gonna, so if you want to buy now, you're probably gonna make a lot of money with us. So we'll let you, we'll sort of let you know when we're gonna sell, but we're probably gonna sell before you because we don't give a fuck about you. But we're gonna pump the market, and if you're smart enough to make the profits when we pump it up, then you're gonna make some dough.
Yeah. I mean, it's the thing. It's like everyone can know all the same information around the same time these days because we all have social media and the internet and stuff. But that's for the masses who are getting the information after the insiders, right? And they know they can tell everyone all at once the same fake news info, so they can pump and dump stuff, or and such and such. So yeah, man, there's the most valuable commodity is information. That's a quote from the movie Wall Street in the 80s, and it's true, because if you know something before someone else, what's going to sell, what's going to who's selling what, who's buying what, then people online try to act like they know this shit, like, I'm looking at level 2, man, someone's buying a lot of stocks, dude. I mean, it's like, dude, you don't know who that is or what's going on, or who's
No,
selling to who, right?
no, it's a really confusing game. I mean, you really the best way that I think to really roll with it is you need to figure out these valuations, Uh,
Yeah, which, as you said in a recent video, it's so fucking hard to value these companies, because it is. I mean, it's like, look at these big stocks, like pick any big stock on Wall Street in the S&P or whatever. I mean, those are easy as shit to value, especially for a professional. You have all kinds of history and data from them. You see exactly how much they made. All the books are like legit. There's not I mean, I know there can be phony
wow.
baloney bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, here comes your counterpoint.
Uh,
And there's a lot of people working on them also. You can compare your valuation to 50 other people's valuation of
yeah,
X
yeah,
or
that's
something.
that's a good I'm not gonna say something. I agree with what you're saying, man. But I
Okay.
mean the market's rigged, that's pretty much but
That too. Yeah, that too. And
um
how do you trade if the market's rigged? I mean, here's the thing. Let's talk about this. Uh, you hear so many people, like, when you trade and you invest, if you lose, obviously you're not happy. But even if you win, you feel like it's such a struggle and someone else had to lose, quote unquote, for you to win, right? That I guess people feel guilty about that shit. I don't think that's something you should think about, but
no,
um,
you gotta it's all mine, you gotta just focus on your what you're good at, what may work for me may not work for you. What may work
yeah,
for Jordan may not work for me. What
for
may
Rob. Oh yeah, that's my real name, not my fake name, Scott Sycamore. But that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
What works for Scott? No, and we talked about this a couple videos back. Like, you got to develop your own style, like a martial art. You got to throw in your own attacks and defense, because if you just follow blindly someone else, whether it be a YouTuber or even someone respectable like the Motley Fool or something like that, or Jim Cramer, I mean, if you just blindly go by someone else's picks, you won't even know what you're doing. You won't know what you own. You don't know why you're buying it. You don't know the fundamentals, the valuation, all that
yeah,
stuff.
man.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, man. So, of course, you got to do your own homework, and it's a game. You got to play to win. We can't just sit here and play to look cool for the moment or to make a few bucks. Like, you don't. We're not swinging we're not swinging the bat to get a little single. We're trying to win the World Series. We're trying to hit a grand slam, right? And we're trying to do well. I think most people don't want to play the game. They want to just tell me what to do. Okay, do this, buy this, put my money here. All right, I'll do it. What? I lost. I hate you. I want to kick your ass. Like you said, certain YouTube people have been like assaulted and stuff for making bad picks, maybe other shit, right? Like,
yeah. I'm not gonna touch that. I don't really know the issues with things happen, but I mean, if you put yourself out there and
yep,
people know where you live, I mean, if they don't like your personality, they can do something to you.
yeah,
I'm well
and
aware of that.
yep,
I'm kind of happy. I never really wanted my channel to really grow that fast. I mean, it was weird when I I was growing really fast after I did the Dave Modell video, and I was like, wow, this is a lot of people. Like I'm like I don't know if I can like kind of handle this amount of people because it's like
No,
you feel a bit of a responsibility. You know, you want to give
well,
the
yeah.
people advice, but when you got like a large amount of people, how can you you can't. You
Well,
really can't. You can only
the haters, yeah, the
the
haters
best
come out of the woodwork.
well, it's basically it's the same as school. There's only some people that are going to get A's in school. And then there's going to be people that fail. It doesn't
Right.
matter who the teacher is really. I mean, if you have people that don't dedicate and do their homework, they're not going to have the success. And
Yeah, I mean, by definition, only like a certain amount of the class can get A's, right? And everyone else has to get B's and C's, and a few get an F, right? So, yeah, it's like basically to the original point, like you have to develop your own game plan, play the way you want to play, have your own style, analyze your performance, see what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and try to figure out why. And yeah, if you're not learning as you go, I mean, you've been in this a few years now, I've been in it a few years, and I'm willing to bet that it's pretty much you win some, you lose some, right? Like, we've done some good stuff, done some bad stuff trading wise, but we're still here
oh
and we're
yeah,
still attempting it, right?
I think this year wasn't a very successful year. I did adventures in call options and
Me too.
like the options thing it could have worked this year if I had a different mentality, right? But I looked at it at, with rose-colored glasses, and I thought that the market was going to go up. But
Well, yeah, right. I'll tell you, I'll give you an exact trade. Sorry I interrupted, but I just got to get it out here. Yeah, I mean, I'm currently getting smoked on Aurora call options at I bought it at $7 strike price, and this was like 2 or 3 months ago when Aurora was still. I forgot what price the stock was at the time, but it was like, oh, it can't get it. It's not going to go any lower. It's $5. That's so low, or whatever it was. Like, it was like, yeah, it's not going below 450 or something like that. So, and then of course it fell to fucking 2. So, and I didn't leave myself enough time. And yeah, those things are going to expire worthless. And that's adventures in options. And I'm definitely wary of them now. I know there's a whole lot of stories of people like, I made 50 times my money in a week with option, and it's possible. It's just be prepared to lose that
I
money
th-
very
yeah,
quick.
I
Yeah,
think I'm not like I haven't done very well on my uh cannabis calls because
the
I
market's getting annihilated
pardon?
because the market's been getting annihilated.
Well, yeah, but it's the psychological factor, you know. If I wasn't trying to swing for home runs on my call options, I would have been taking off profit like lots of time, and I would have had a better mentality going for all of 2019, you know, because I was up like a lot of times on Tilray, like Village Farms, like
Right.
Picks, you name it. But the upside potential on it, I was I didn't want to get rid of the calls because I
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
the
go ahead.
upside potential just is was phenomenal. You look at okay, if you had like three or four um $30 strikes of Tilray and you pay like 500-600 bucks, and the
Right.
potential is that Tilray would be at like 70 or $120. So then
Yeah.
you would be making a lot more money than the losses. So
Right.
it hurts, but the reality is it's a lesson, and I knew that the call options like I wanted to learn the call options like I did the training fraternity is a online YouTube channel, and they do Monday to Friday. Go subscribe. Go they listen to the guy. They kind of do something. At least check it
Are
out if you're
you are
interested.
you actively have you been subscribed, or are you still subscribed to them?
I no, I don't go to their videos and stuff right now. Like I basically found that hanging around there a lot was like kind of make you all FOMO to always want to buy more or something like that.
Of
So
course.
I kind of had to like leave that kind of thing because I got to train myself to be a hunter and to just focus on like the best the lowest like thing. I don't need to be in a trade. Like that's the mentality.
Yes, because the trading is addictive. People get it. It's just like gambling. It's the same exact thing. And people are like, I got to be in a trade. Oh my God, I'm missing an opportunity right now, right now. It's only happening now, you know? When the reality is, if you're disciplined and patient, you realize that there's opportunities every fucking day, right? If you look. And
Oh
real
yeah.
people, yeah, real people should be scanning shit and researching constantly every day. And then as soon as the obvious, like, clear thing presents itself to you, that's when you act instead of, oh, I got some
Oh
money
yeah.
right now, we get in a trade, right?
Yeah, yeah, I mean some of the opportunities, I mean I would be trying to get labs or and well I was trying to get 30,000 Xena at 16 cents and
Hmm.
that's probably not going to hit. It may hit. I haven't used that money, but it was that, but now I'm like looking at because I look at the Berkshire Hathaway Canada portfolio that I made is a lot safer way. So if I
Yeah.
invested in just to like 1,000 shares of Labs or 500 shares of Valence Growworks, I think that
Uh,
that'll make me sleep better. And I don't
yeah.
want to lose the money. I have enough aggressive position with Zenabis, but again, if it does hit 16 cents with Zena, I probably will take that, but it's I'm not gonna chase it at 20 cents, right? That's
Yeah.
the mentality that I'm trying to share and teach
Yes.
my. It's like
You.
it's at 20 cents. Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, you told me, you mentioned you were going to do this trade. Told me that like 2 weeks ago, but I thought you'd already done it. So you're saying you actually haven't had your price target hit yet. So you haven't bought the shares of Xena yet as of today.
Well, I have a lot of shares of Xena right now. Like I've accumulated a lot in the last like 5 to 6 weeks. But as
Right.
far as like I kind of have a goal. Like I don't know if I'll hit it, but like to have like 100,000 shares would
Yep.
be
You got
kind.
to, man.
Well,
Leverage
I don't
in.
I don't got to. It's just it would be kind of cool
Well,
if
it's as a milestone. I'm
it's.
saying you got to, like, yeah, that would be cool, like you're
I
saying.
mean, it's the mentality that okay, what if Zenabis really is the real deal? You know, they're like a number three, number four producer, and then the market gets valued. So there's a chance that like in the next 2 years or less that Zenabis could be worth $1 billion or $2 billion. So
Right.
the price would be probably like $3 to $4 or $5 by then. So there is potential for that, but it could also just like chill around the 15 cents, like go to 40 cents and then go back down to 10 cents or 15 or 20 cents and struggle. So there's you're betting, you're betting on your wisdom, you're betting on that, but you're
Right. With 2020, how do we think it's going to look like? Is there room for another historical cannabis explosion, or is the cat out of the bag that a lot of these companies are, you know, fraudulent, or they're not making the money they need to, and the industry will just continue to kind of be suppressed until the clear winners emerge, like the big five companies or whatever they're going to be?
well, honestly, I really think that 2020 is going to be pivotal
No
because
question, one way or
because
another.
um I just read a newsletter like that USA wants the DEA wants 3.2 million grams. They want mushrooms, they want LSD. They like what the
You mean they want to seize them and
no,
arrest people?
they want to research that stuff.
Well, they want to research.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the government's going to be a huge buyer of all this stuff because yeah, they do need to research. Um, yeah, shroom. I mean, even shrooms are becoming legal in different cities every day, every week. Denver, Oakland, I think Santa Cruz, California, they're all decriminalizing shroom. The guy from Halo Labs says that shrooms are the next big industry in this game. So will we
Uh,
see a lot more of that in 2020? I guess. I don't know what companies there are really in that space, but
yeah,
maybe some. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no, I agree, man. I do think that it'll be decent size, but it's not going to compare to cannabis, man.
It can't because because cannabis is just so anyone can use it. Not anyone can or should, but yeah, it's less intense. It's less crazy. We already have more advanced science on all the medicines and the CBD and formulations and everything. Where shrooms, I'm sure, offer a lot of that stuff too, but it needs more study. Like you said, that they need to buy it and study it more. The DEA or whoever.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, if they want to do, if they were to legalize cocaine, then sure, I
Yeah.
think that would definitely take a run for cannabis's
Woo!
money.
That
Because
that
because
yeah, that's even further. That's even further down the road
but if
because it,
yeah, go. What were you gonna say?
I'm just like, yeah, we might get to a point at some point where all drugs are legalized or that they start, knocking it off state by state. But yeah, I feel like there's a certain amongst like the drug culture or whatever, or the like liberal culture, it's thought of like, okay, the natural drugs like weed and shrooms and stuff are better than the synthetic cocaine, man-made type of, heroin, even though those all come from plants. But yeah, and obviously they're more dangerous with all the opiates and opioids and everything. So yeah, whereas we know that you don't overdose on weed or shrooms even. It's just not really a thing.
I think it's the LSD that they want to try. But I'm not gonna speculate on that. I mean, I know that yield growth is kind of like talking. They have some talks like they're set to be a mushroom player, but I mean,
Yield growth, you say, out of Oregon?
yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
with the female CEO.
yeah.
Yep.
So,
Interesting, man. Yeah, but I know we're derailed, but yeah, 2020. Oh, let's talk about the cannabis space, with your channels about. Again, yeah, I mean, 2020, again, it seems like we've hit a low. It seems like that's kind of how these patterns go. Like we hit around the lows, like at the end of the year, like in December. It happened with cryptocurrency last year, 1 year ago, and it's hopefully maybe now happening in the cannabis field. Uh, and so 2020 could see it could see a boom. I mean, we could speculate, we could speculate all day on which companies are going to blow up and what fundamentals look like, but we don't know. I mean, yes, brought it to you first. Uh, so what we're thinking, I don't know, man. My strategy right now is just to be more in cash, not be itching to get into a trade just because I have some money. Stay in cash. I was gonna say we're all fucked if there's any sort of economic recession or downturn, right? Because the cannabis stocks will be hit super hard right along with all the other S&P stocks or whatnot. Correct? If there is.
well, that's an interesting thing, man. I almost feel like this time might be different, man, because
How so?
if if the market falls, man, that's gonna be pretty catastrophic for a lot of people, man. A lot of
Yes,
retail investors, they're probably gonna want to have their beverages, get their
you're right.
THC.
Well, you're right because so-called sin industries actually do better during a recession and a depression, and cannabis would fall
It
in that. You're right.
it like last time when like the last couple of times with the China results and stuff like that, it's gone down and all that stuff like that. But
Yeah,
if Trump's so involved with the markets, if he wanted a magic card to keep the market going up, like okay, maybe the Apple might fall 10 or 20%, but
yeah,
the broader market's not going to be as effective if there's just like so much hype going on around with like Constellation Brands and like Altria and all these other companies that are just nibbling on all these companies.
yeah, man. I mean, yeah. Hey, cannabis stocks could be the things that ultimately save the stock market and the economy in general by extension. Because yeah, if these things keep growing and the industry keeps growing, even if other stuff slows down, like the general market, then yeah, this would be um, the story of the decade in terms of the markets, which is kind of like what we're banking on anyways, right? By investing in it in the first place. But yeah, all this stuff, that's a secret weapon that Trump and whoever has. It's like, okay, let's get the legalization going and we can pump up these markets like a mofo, you know, in a short amount of time and get this industry where it needs to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people aren't really acknowledging just there's all these bears out there, and I've been like I'm with these guys on Twitter, and some of these guys are just clueless as fuck. Is just
Well,
basically they're they can't even back up their story. They're start telling me that Aurora and Canopy are growing 1.2 million right now a year, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay,
they said growing one point. What do you mean growing 1 point?
1.2 million kilograms a year.
Aurora and Canopy are each growing that many?
No, no. They grew last quarter both 40,000 kilograms. I thought that Aurora grew 25,000, but they grew 40,000. So they're both at about
Okay.
40,000 kilograms. But that's not 300
Wait,
thousand.
but why would a bear? You're telling me the bears are saying that they're growing way more than they are?
Yeah.
What is the reason for that? I don't
Oh,
understand it.
it's oversupply in Canada.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, even my dad asked me. I saw him the other day, and he's like, "I heard there was a ton of oversupply of weed in Canada." And my answer was, um, yes and no. Like technically, yes, there is, but it's not because the demand isn't enough. It's because the regulations are making it that the demand that they can't meet, that the demand
Yeah.
and supply can't fucking interface,
Yeah.
right?
And
So yeah,
that's really gonna like chop that guy's nuts off with like with his if he's gonna sleep on that because basically Ontario now is opening up their marketplace. So
yeah,
all that supply that they're saying is like it's gonna be lucrative towards those companies. So
yeah. And
you're
guess
art
what? You know what? Here's the thing, though, man, and you know this. Even if you do grow too much weed, and you can't like sell all the flower, there's so much other shit you can do with the flower, as you and I well know. I
I
know it might.
agree, but
Yeah.
right now that's not really gonna work out. I don't think
Well, not
they're
if you're just trying to sell flower.
well, I mean, yeah, there's so much. Are you talking about edibles and all that other stuff? Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about? Oh yeah,
There's never a
absolutely.
reason. Yeah, there's never a reason for any flower to go to waste, really. Even if it's fucking moldy, as you know, you could still make it into good oils and stuff, even if it's like unsmokable. So, yeah. But yeah, I agree. If you're trying to sell the best, biggest nugs at the shops or whatever, and you fuck that up, that's not good, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
we'll see, man. We shall see. I don't know. We don't know. Usually we throw out companies and stuff. I will say, I wanted to touch on this. I remember months back we did a show and we gave some picks. And I remember one of mine's, and maybe yours too, was Grow Generation, which has actually like doubled in the face of this insane cannabis bear market, right? So there's always these one or two, outliers like that. Why do you think something like that has done so well when everything else has
well,
done?
something that I don't get any credit for, but I really saw that this stuff coming about.
Yeah.
Is I saw it back when the companies weren't making any revenues, and
Right.
I started noticing companies that were making revenues, and I was like eyeing them up, such as like TGIF and Namaste, and
Yeah.
those companies went from 20 cents to 4.40, or TGIF went from like 22 cents to a buck 50, and I
Right.
saw that because they were making good revenues. But
Yep.
now the market doesn't care about revenues; it cares about net income, and
Profit. Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to happen this quick, but as soon as it did start to notice, you start to see some traction. I started seeing like GRWG is very attractive because they really
They
only
were,
have 30 million shares out, like 35 million shares
yeah.
out.
I mean, when we targeted them, we did a show like maybe even a year ago or something, and yeah, it was like, well, they got all these stores. They're not even touching the plant; they're just selling equipment. They're making all this revenue, good money. They're making profits. Yeah, and they have a low float. It's like, that's a recipe for good shit. And look what happened. They went completely opposite of the market in a good way. And and that's a good. I hate promoting stuff while it's already high. But yeah, I mean, aren't they going on the Nasdaq as well? And like that could be a solid.
They're on the Nasdaq. I've been watching them. I mean, I've been following them
Yeah,
even on my Twitter page. I've been acknowledging them. I made some quote that it looked like it was gonna go down after it went on there. Like
no
it
question.
popped up, and I was like, looks like it's selling the news,
Yeah,
and it did, and I was right. I'm not gonna like brag about it, but like I
yeah.
watched that shit, and
Yeah, I don't really I don't even think I have it on my watch list right now, but yeah, I mean, again, something like that, and again, kind of uh, another thing about a stock like that, not really super hyped either. I'm sure it's been promoted by this and that analyst or whatnot, but it's not like everyone's going on YouTube like, oh dude, you gotta buy Grow Generation, we brought it to you
no,
first, pump and dump. It's not like that, right? It's just
no.
this. Yeah,
No,
go
Grow
ahead.
Generations, it definitely does have a future potential. Um,
Right.
but I mean, their net income isn't growing crazy, so that's my only bearish thing. I haven't made a lot of money on I had 100 shares and I bought it at 295 and I sold it at like 440.
Nice.
That's all I've done with Grow Generations. I never made a bigger position
But
just
it's
be
still that's still whatever, like 50% or
Oh
whatever you
yeah,
made,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
The percentage was great for sure, but
yeah,
as far as I had a small position, so
totally. I mean, but it's stories like that, and it's like it's just weird. Like despite it's like cannabis moves as a whole sector. It seems like, but then there's the two or three things that go completely in the opposite direction of the sector,
listen,
and the outlier. Go ahead.
the outlier is the market is figuring out which companies are going to be successful in 2020 and 2021. That is
Right.
really what it's all about. I mean,
And what does it
um,
say? What has it spoken to that theory?
Um, well, you got Labs and Village Farms and
Right.
Valens Growworks. Their stock doesn't go down. I already made the video. I made the video on how the Berkshire Hathaway Canada portfolio did compared to the top marijuana ETFs, and
Right.
that actually beat all the ETFs.
Nice, nice. And that is, give me the companies real quick that are in that. I know some of them,
uh,
but
Village Farms, Valens Growworks, True Leaf, Labs, Afria, Tilray, um, uh, what else?
Aurora,
Yeah, Aurora,
there you have
GRWG.
it. Okay,
Uh,
so brilliant. Go, keep going, keep going.
they're they're weighted in a way that that the 10% is for Village Farms because they got a good net income, and Valens Growworks and Labs have 17.5%. So they're like a huge weight and they're bigger than one third of the whole portfolio.
Yeah.
And another reason why it beat them is because I said 35% cash. And all the
Mm,
ETFs, they have their positions in stocks. And
right.
if it was just pure stocks, the HMUS
Uh-huh.
would if all my portfolio could just be in stocks, the way I
Uh-huh.
set it up, I would have been down minus 0.4%, point four of a percent on
Okay.
HMUS, which is the US ETF. So it's signaling that the money is signaling towards the US. I mean, we've talked about this, but yeah.
Yeah. But now do you know how much your portfolio beat the ETFs by, or how did you figure that out?
Well, I just did the math calculations. I looked at the price of like the HMMJ
Yeah.
on October 25th because I did it October 26th, and that's a weekend. And
Okay.
October 25th um, would be the last trading day, and I did it for the close, and then towards Friday, and
So it's been basically 2 months of data that you've had to follow, like. with yours versus theirs. I feel you, man, and that's the thing. Even though we told people not to take on someone else's trading ideas, but I think, yeah, if someone's kind of doesn't really know what to invest in, looking at your portfolio like that and kind of, seeing how it stacks up against
That,
their own opinion. Like what?
like that's not even my portfolio. Like that's my dream portfolio. Like
Oh, right. Yeah.
I want it to be like that. That's why
Right.
I'm buying Valence Growworks and Labs.
Yeah.
I have positions in all these in some shape or form in calls, but as far as
Right.
the shares go, like I'm like I got this money, so I'm like, you know, I want to be about what I'm talking about, because
Yeah. I mean,
there's some people on YouTube that they'll say like, oh yeah, buy this, buy that, and stuff like that,
oh, I've never
and
owned it
then
before.
it went up 50%, but they didn't buy it or sell it, so like that doesn't really mean much. I mean,
Like
I'm not
Tim's
gonna,
bullshit. Yeah, because
I'm not,
yeah, you're right. You could make picks all day. Oh, my pick went 100% over a month. It's like, yeah, but you didn't buy it, and you didn't buy
yeah.
it in.
So I mean, I'm not. I don't care if any of my subscribers or viewers don't believe me. That's really their prerogative. I'm gonna be as honest as can be because honestly, it's really hard for me to lie. Like I feel I have to like uh
You
just let it out. Like I'm like,
you
oh yeah,
shouldn't be in the stock, you shouldn't be in the stock analysis game if you can't lie, because that's the
so,
biggest skill, bro. Or any
well,
sale or anything, right?
I know. I guess I'm just changing up the game or something. But
Well, yeah, giving you good info for free around here. That's how we do it. It's called open source, media, and
yeah,
that's
we'll see.
because even if it's not flashy and it doesn't have like all these fans and all that stuff, it's there. The record is there. You can go back to anything we said where you lighten up the game. You can go back to our videos back in the past and see what we said then, and it's going to hold up today and it'll hold up tomorrow, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I
Yeah.
mean, I've made tons of bad calls. I mean, I'm not gonna deny that. I know my calls can be bad. That's why I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be
Yeah.
better.
And that's what matters. That's what matters. Not it matters that you try to improve, not to just stick with what you've already done and think you're awesome and you're perfect already.
Oh yeah,
That's how you
like
get over.
I mean, I've been doing a lot of things. I don't get much credit, but like I seriously like I give advice to Rich TV like a lot of the time. I'm telling him the stuff, and I like people don't even understand this. I told him I'm like people need to look at different things like, oh well, a stock's doesn't matter if a stock's at $75. Like that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter Village Farms at $10. The potential for the stock to go up 50% is the same as if a stock's at 2 cents or 50 cents. I mean,
Yes. Yeah, and that's speaking of getting it wrong in the past. It's like I was kind of thinking that way too. I remember we talked about it on a video. I was like, oh, I don't really want to buy stocks that are over $1, because I could get more shares of all this stuff and I can leverage in there harder. And it's like, yeah, you could have more shares, but it's like, yeah, well, you're getting your 20-cent shares of some company that stays flat or goes down. Some $8 stock is doubling, right, in the same amount of time. You know what I
it's
mean?
it's, it's all about
Yeah.
the net income, man. I promise you, it's all about the net income. Um, you know,
Now, define net income versus actual profit that you get to put right in your pocket.
it's net income. What I believe it is, I'm not an accountant, but it's okay. You get your revenues, and then you minus your profit margins. Um, so your profit margins say like are 50%. So you say you make 10 million this quarter and you get 50% profit margin, your profits are 5 million.
Right.
Now then you got to get into your SG&A and your
Taxes.
your taxes and stuff, and then it's like the net income. So the
Right.
the
And it
the
could be half
EBITDA
of that. Go ahead.
the EBITDA can be, it's kind of like it's kind of bullish and stuff. People are like getting really excited about EBITDA, and I get excited about EBITDA because I think that's what the street's thinking about. Like I read the reports from these analysts. I'm trying to keep on top of what these Fs are thinking about because these guys are the ones that are gonna like let let the money flow that in that direction.
Yeah. Right. Right. And so you're thinking they just want to see, yeah, all the pre-tax earnings and stuff, but what really keeps a real company afloat is the after tax, the post EBITDA, and
Yeah,
the net. basically what you're saying, what you actually get to put in your damn pocket at the end of the day and keep for yourself, which we know is a small percentage of
Yeah,
total.
I think that banks are kind of like they're kind of lenient on the EBITDA for some reason because that's showing that they're getting closer to that net income. So
Because you can always rearrange a company. If a company's making good EBITDA money, uh, it's like you can rearrange it. You could fire people. You could change, the offices. You could change the SG&A, as you say, and the expenses, and get increase that
it's
net income.
it's really happening, and people like don't even know about it. I was actually, and I want to just touch on this,
Yeah.
is people like talk so much crap about Zenabis, but I was looking at their reviews for their employees, and it's actually not bad. It's like 4 stars out of 5 and 3.5, and then you had like Aurora that was like 2.5, and
Oh, wow. Aurora, not a great, well-liked company to work for, huh?
not the people that reviewed, and Canopy wasn't very good. I
I'll
mean,
bet.
so it just begs the question. I mean, everybody's so bullish on Aurora, but I mean, is Aurora really the perfect company? You got to ask yourself.
Um, Clearly not. Yeah, it's like someone, you can get the hype and you can get these people to follow you and this cult-like mentality and a lot of investors. But yeah, the real who's going to win in the end is, as we say, who has the connections and who has that net income and who's going to look the best to the street and institutional money as a safe bet, not as a cowboy. We might be the biggest, but we might fail type of bet. Someone who's going to grow the revenues, maybe pay a dividend at some point, stuff like that. The things that the real money wants to see, not the retail speculator tards, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
and
think so.
yeah,
Uh,
and maybe it'll be something like IIPR or some sort of real estate, like stable sort of thing, right?
yeah, I mean, what made me think, okay, I know Rich is touching on that. I'll give him credit for that for his videos on he got some word that IIPR he thinks is gonna be like 10x in a few years or something like that. And
Right.
you know what? I think there's a good chance it somehow, because they've been able to get so much property, and so somehow they're just getting a mortgage on these property, and then they just lease it out and they get cash flow. So
Right.
they're just running. The only way that their company's gonna fail is if all these companies go down the drain and then they can't find anyone to like take care of that property and
I
lease
think
it.
they will. I think they always will, because you could always, if you have real estate, I mean, there's so much you could do with it. You could always pivot to something else or find a new company to try. I mean, look at something like restaurants. There's even though almost every restaurant fails, someone else will move in and try a new restaurant where the old restaurant used to be because they have a kitchen and everything.
Yeah,
So that's feel with
I,
that.
I don't know, man. It's just I think that the street's not gonna like that kind of idea. They're gonna tarnish that reputation if something like that happens. So the way I'm looking at it is there's a good chance that maybe a big RIT that's not in the cannabis space will give them money to become even bigger.
Sure, sure. That's what I mean. If you own real estate versus just like I read a lot with these cannabis companies about leaseback agreements. I think who did it? Just a Cresco or something just did one, or one of these
Yeah, they're all
companies.
there's some other companies that are working with these companies too.
Yeah, yeah. And there's all these ancillary companies. I'll give people a new pick. Extraction Services. Do you know that firm? Have you followed them at all?
Uh, I don't want nothing to do with that firm, man.
Well, why not? What's their problem?
I they're dog crap in my opinion.
They may be dog shit. Okay, that's good. I threw them as someone. I don't know if they're good or not. I just know that they're new and they
Who
work with
knows? I would
extraction
I would
machines.
I would put my money on oils if I was looking at a stock under $1 for
Ooh,
extraction.
oh, yeah. I don't even know what the see extraction. I can't even trade in my country. Oils, yes, although I haven't looked at them in a while. But that's the thing too. Someone like oils, they're all about, they have these patents and they're working on these amazing patents and all that stuff. Is that even possible in this game? Are people going
Yeah,
to be able to
yeah,
enforce
no,
these things?
I think they do, but the real thing is, do people want these patents? You can have patents, but unless
Like, yeah.
unless somebody wants it, it's only worth as much as someone wants it. If nobody wants it, it's worth zero right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but can you enforce it if you're Next Leaf Solutions and you find out someone's
I don't
making
know, man.
oil in a way you have a patent on? What are you going to do? You're going to sue them? Like
Who knows,
that's
man? You look at like Hawaii and like Apple. I don't want to. I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I think it's not a bad idea that they get patents, but I want to see their revenues. That's more important to me than
well, yeah. I mean, it seems like when you're focusing your entire company on like we're getting all these patents and we have all these lawyers and stuff working on it. It's like it sounds like you're spending a lot of money, and yeah, like you said, what are the patents really worth? It's only what someone's willing to pay, and how are you going to defend them anyway? It's like, you know, you can't. I don't see how any one person or entity could patent the cannabis plant or the hemp plant or cannabis oil. Like how? Yeah, you could say
uh
our process or whatever is
it's
patented, but like
it's just the type of process. Like, okay, they say that it's like a lot more purified or some whatever. And
yeah,
but I mean, I don't know. I think they all have pretty good technology. I think the best technology is the Sourcey technology, that out of all the companies with Valence Growworks for extraction, I think that's the coolest technology that in my opinion.
sure, sure,
Um,
whatever that is, I'm sure it's great.
but you know, it's a wild card, right? Because who knows? Maybe Monster or some other company will be all up on that, and they'll want oils to be their patent people.
Well, yeah, when people go and buy other products like Monster Energy drink or whatever, no consumer is like, oh, I like this because it's a patented flavor that only these guys can have. No, they buy what's there, they like the taste or whatever, and they go with it. So, as I've said before, I believe that it's the brands, it's the companies that can get the actual products out there and make them attractive and have people buy it, whether there's a fucking patent on it or not or whatever. Uh, that's who's going to make the money. When you dig in the back, see, I feel like I don't really want to invest in these companies that have this murky, legal, complicated patent paperwork system, and that's how they're going to somehow bring. It's like, are you selling something? Is it selling well? That's why, yeah, I'm not that interested in the patent side or in like the funds and stuff that own other companies. I remember I bought this company. Was it? I don't know. I can't remember the name. It's like uh, they owned a bunch of T God, like before T God even
Oh,
IPO'd.
it was probably like Rock Shield.
Rock Shield, yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bought like a few, like maybe $50 worth. That was a piece of crap fund.
yeah, exactly. It basically went to nothing, and now T God is
Oh
not
yeah,
doing very well at all. But yeah, stuff like that. But my point being, it was like removed. There was like 6 degrees of separation. Like I'm trying to get this one company, so I'm going to buy this other company that owns it. It's too many layers, man. Just buy the actual thing that you're trying to get.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, I think that he's like hyping up his patents because they really don't have anything yet. So, I mean,
Yeah,
maybe the patents are phenomenal. I don't know, but usually these companies they want to brag about something because they're missing on some other side.
exactly. And it's like big waves of retail investors and big money are not going to buy your stock because you have some fucking patents. They're going to buy it because it's hyped or it's the next big thing or
Yeah,
it's got a crazy product.
I th- the
Yeah,
the biopharma, like that patents, like stuff like that. I think if they work with a biopharmaceutical company and then they can set up some patents, then maybe it can make them some good money. But I need to have more assurance before. That's the thing that I like to follow Warren Buffett's idea is just, if you don't understand something, I don't need to know everything. That's the thing. You don't have to swing at everything. You swing at when the pitch looks good, and then you're like, oh.
A
I hit
big
it.
meat ball, man. A big meat fucking ball. And yeah, this is what we were saying. I'm just looking at my picks right now, man. I'm looking at my picks right now, so we could end this off with some quality analysis, right?
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, if you want this, I'm just trying to look. This is based on closing on Friday, so I think there's a few companies. Hold on, something. I'm trying to. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at my picks. So what I look for is going by the Rich TV fucking philosophy of trying to bottom hunt because we like big bottoms around here. Uh, companies that are at or near 52-week lows that I think could still be good companies. Now, obviously, a lot of these are going to sound distressed right now, and no one is into them. Like I know I mentioned in our last video, probably Charlotte's Web would be one of them. I know you sort of have a different take on they might actually be, I don't know, going out of business or something. But
No, no, I think
go
they'll
ahead.
be okay, but I just don't think they're going to be super dominant. But
They
because of
might not be
the other companies coming in, like Chronos and Tilray and Canopy.
totally, but they still could have their day in the sun from now on, like starting from now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're at 865 US as of last closing. I mean, they've been up to almost $23 or whatever in the past. So yeah, I think that's something when a bounce back occurs could definitely go from 8 to 20 or whatever. Even if it's just 16, that's still a double. And they're a known name. They're still not on any big board or they have a good float too. We know that. So their float is good, and yeah, it's one of those firms that everybody knows who follows this stuff, right? And even other people. I know they've claimed to help with cancer. How about our buddy? I'm not saying this is one of my picks at all, but hasn't MedMen quietly gone up like 40% or something in the last
yeah.
couple of days?
I think they're actually going to be okay. Excuse me for that for the next while because they're really tightening their ship. But
And they're
I
raising,
mean, what's
yeah,
that?
and they're raising money.
Well, yeah, they got some money, but it was at 43 cents. That's nothing to really like get excited about. But
No,
basically, it's the way I look at it is they just want to pump it up, and maybe it's going to go to 250, 350. Just depends on the markets. But that's I have 100 shares. That's when I'm going to sell my shares when it gets to somewhere
but
around there.
basically, my theory is like I think they will survive. On some, I think the brand name will survive, whatever form the stock and the company take, whether someone buys it outright or whatever. But they will continue with this brand because it just has too much name recognition and too much work has been put in already to just like throw it away. You know what I
I
mean?
Yeah, I think it's just about being disciplined. I mean, I agree. If I would want to swing for the fences, I could try to see if in a year or two, MedMen goes to $10 or $15. But I don't like the risk on MedMen. That if I could get out at somewhere like that, I'd be happy with that.
Definitely. Yeah, I think. Tell me what you know about this firm. It's popped. I've been looking at it. It's definitely popped a bit in the last month or so, but it's still fairly low and it's fairly decent on the chart. But Corbis Pharmaceuticals on the Nasdaq.
Yeah, I that's a question mark for me. I've looked into them, but look, those pharmaceutical companies are very iffy.
Yeah.
They can just kind of
Yes.
go up in spikes. I mean, look, I think the best ones to look at are as a Nairba, um, probably I can't even think right now, but TH, THC Biomed, not
Right.
THC, I mean Tetra Biopharma, and
Tetra. Yeah. Yeah.
I have InMed warrants, but I don't know.
And
It's a
yeah,
question
InMed
mark,
is
right?
faster. There's stuff like yeah. I have there's Axim Biotech.
Yep.
Yeah,
XXII.
yeah, accent. There's a bunch of them, man. You could see lists if you look on but yeah, this one I tried to look, for the synthetic future of growing all this stuff, and this is kind of the only one that I came up with, Corbis, that sort of fit all my criteria. And they do shit with CBD and all, they're researching all the stuff. But yeah, I'm not a biotech investor, so probably would stay away. But it's on my list in terms of my criteria right now. It's you know, it raised a flag. I'll give you two more here, and you give me your take, and then we could wrap it up. But one of them, and I know we've mentioned a lot before. I need to check the chart right here, but yeah, man, Harvest Health and Recreation. I mean, they've been slammed along with a lot of other
Um,
people. Do they still have the potential, or are they kind of like
uh,
not
that's a good
fulfilling themselves?
that's a good question. I'm kind of more interested in if the Verano deal goes through. That's
Oh,
the
right.
big question mark. If the Verano deal doesn't go through, I think it's gonna get slaughtered for the short
Mm-hmm.
term. And my other question mark with them is their cash position. So that'll be a
Yeah,
wait and see. I just don't. I know there's upside on Harvest. Don't get me wrong. I think it
yeah,
absolutely go to $15 or something like that. But
yeah.
I just
It's a question mark. It's not like a
it's just trading.
yeah. It's trading like shit, and there's no guarantee. Like even though it's supposedly this huge cannabis company, it's like who really knows or talks or has heard about them? You know what I mean? Other than people like us who follow this stuff, but I don't think. I think there's a lot of people out there that aren't aware. They're just like, who is Harvest Health, and you know what I mean? It's not like a lot of other companies you can name. They do brands and they do different shit, but they sell in Cali. But I don't know, man. Yeah, big question mark, like you said. And here's a laughable one. Here's a truly laughable one. My final. I'm not even going to call this a pick. I'm just calling something that's low, that's been beaten down. But DIXIE-BRANDS. What are we thinking about them?
Uh, I think they actually might have a potential, but there's their share structure and their cash position, I'm not sure of that. So as far as saying if I would want to buy them or not, I can't really justify and say because that is really the telltale sign if a company is going to get destroyed or not. You know, if their share structure and stuff like that, like underneath,
Yeah,
isn't like maybe they have a share unlock stuff like that. I don't know about, but as far as the Arizona deal with Dixie does look attractive. Um,
promising. Yeah,
and I do think their products are probably pretty good. And then the Chiron deal, and
yeah.
they got deals with Oxley, so I think they're a question mark. I don't think it would be the worst decision. I don't know what they're trading at. What are they trading at? Please tell me.
They're trading at 20 cents US.
Yeah, listen, I really don't think it would be the worst decision to buy 1,000 shares if you had like $100,000 in your portfolio and you're like, oh,
Dude,
I'm gonna
and
speculate. I'm not telling you to do that because I don't want you to lose that money if it goes bad, but I don't
yeah,
think it's the worst pick out of all the companies,
yeah, man. I mean,
especially at that price.
yeah, a company like Dixie Brands, going with my theory of that brands are what's going to make this thing go where it needs to be. I mean, a company like this should be one of the bigger companies because they do have good products. I know that sell in California and all that. Like they win awards and all this shit. So products like that. And by the way, the share structure according to OTC Markets actually looks pretty good. The float is 107 million. So, and the total shares are like 126 or whatever outstanding shares. So going by that metric, it's a decent float as far as I've been taught. But yeah, I mean, but we'll see. Yeah, there's no guarantees, and there's no until someone starts buying this stuff and pushing the price back up, it's not going to go anywhere. So these companies really have to give people a reason to throw their money at them.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. These companies are gonna go up a lot because the thing is nobody's really buying a lot of these stocks. Nobody is. It's all just algos. I promise you, it's
Yeah,
like
day trading.
90% of these trades are algos.
Yeah, I mean it's day trading bumfuckery. I mean, just on the chart, I mean, for Dixie Brands, the 52-week low is 18 cents, and it's at 20 cents. So it's basically at the low right now. And the high is 120. It's in February it was $1.20 or 21 or whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's
well,
yeah, big percentage swing, man. So yeah, again, if it went back up even to $1, that's still 5 times your money from where it's at
yeah.
now.
I would have to
Yeah.
look at the chart. I mean, as far as to want to get right in, but yeah, I don't think Dixie's the worst pick. Like if you do own Dixie, I'm not saying to sell it or anything, but yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
saying
we'll see. None
it's
of
not
these,
my top five pick. Let's just put it that
no,
way.
no. Yeah, when I'm giving these picks right now, it's just because I think they're very low, and I think they might be at a bargain. Compared, I'm not looking at the ones that are near a 52-week high or that have gained 100% in the last 3 months, or grow
Oh yeah.
generation stuff. Yeah, because that's what everybody fucking does. Something goes up 10x, and they say, "Dude, you gotta buy this now, man. It just went up 10x. It's gonna go forever." It's like that is the absolute worst advice.
Oh yeah, no, there's guys on YouTube that are like they're serious serial cult artists. I promise you, they are cult artists. They basically like if you don't believe them, you're like outlawed. But it's the guy was saying like, oh, labs, the insiders have never sold any shares. Why does Valens grow? Well, when I look at Canadian Insider, from all the like, it only reports back 6 months or something like that. I can't find a sell from Valens Growworks, but I saw a sell from Labs, like a small sell. So when you're giving me these statements, and then I do the information and the research, and your ideas are flawed, I'm like you're zero to me.
Yeah, and that's why these small cap markets are so fucked these days because there's so much stupid false info flowing through the internets and stuff that people act on and use their money on, and it's yeah, man, the game ain't the same. It's very different from. No, we were never intended to be a nation of speculators. Like when they created the stock market back in the day, it wasn't like intended to be used like the way it is now. It was still a rigged insider's game back then, like 120 years ago. But it wasn't just this tidal wave of bullshit all day with stupid retail investors and options traders and all this cowboy shit all the time, right?
Yeah,
Future.
I think options is hot right now, but I think a lot of people are gonna realize like it's not good. 99% of these people can't make money on options.
You're gonna fucking lose. Like
Uh,
the options, what you said before, like you should have taken your smaller profits in options, but you were waiting for it to go up more. Um, that's the thing. It's almost like you have to be more disciplined in your buys and sells with options, even though you're trying to get that huge home run. But as where with the stock, you could just wait on a stock indefinitely. You can wait on it forever to go back up. You might not.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's there. Look, I'm not begging on calls or puts. I think calls or puts place they're a good thing to have. Look, if I would have
Yeah.
bought like HMMJ puts or Tilray puts or Canopy puts back in March or April, that would have been very fantastic for my portfolio. But
Yeah.
as far as like just being focused on buying calls instead of like buying the stock, it it can be a decent thing, because if you were to buy, say if you were to buy like 1,000 shares of, because you're super bullish on Aurora
Yeah.
at $5, and now it's like goes to like 220 USD, right? So
Yep.
then that's worth like a lot less money. Now,
Yes.
if you bought like the call for like 550 or $6 because you think it's going to go to $10, and
Yeah.
you bought like 5 calls or something like that, so you have the right to buy 500 shares. Well, all
Right.
that upside, you're gonna make the money on the upsides, but then you're not gonna lose as bad on that downside. So
Well, the stock still has to come back. You're going to lose less money with doing the option thing, but you're right. But you're still losing all your money. Whereas if you bought the stock outright, you don't really lose until you sell at a loss, and you could just hold it for many years if you want to. Um,
yeah,
and but it gives you the leverage. Like my buddy was talking about buying like 7,000 shares of Aurora at the $2 strike, I think, but that would cost like 7 grand or something to just for the options. So if you do all the math or whatever, you're actually paying more per share by doing the options than just buying the stock, because you could buy the stock at 230 or something. He would have been paying 290 a share or something if you include the option price, option premium. Get it?
yeah,
So
you're gonna pay more on that. Obviously,
yeah,
it's a versatility play, really. That's what options are for. But
hedging.
as far as like being like fully like, oh, like I'm not gonna trade stocks, I'm just gonna focus on doing calls. See, the way
Yeah,
I look at it, why they fucked it. why like my calls they fucked it because it's they make sure that it's not like the people can't guess how they're gonna play the market, right? When they're gonna run it up, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
last time they sold out uh, before legalization. Now it's like gone to its like 52 low right around legalization. So now it's like if legalization happens, then it's going to start actually going up, and there's more legalization in other states. So
So they smashed it down. So the insiders shorted it, so it would kind of coincide with legalization 2.0 when it would be at a low, and everyone's bearish, and then boom, the data starts coming in and it starts rocketing back up,
that
and they
that's
make on that side.
that's the way they're gonna play. Like they're gonna get all the data because they start seeing, oh well, all there's all these people that are placing all these long-term call options. There's a lot of open interest, and then
Right.
they look on the data and they're like, okay, we're gonna fucking change the game. I mean,
Right.
I don't know exactly what they did as far as the things, but they know this stuff and they always flip flop on that. That's why it's almost like if this channel becomes big, then I it's like beneficial for me to not even talk about this stuff because these institutions can
Yeah.
like just use my information against me. So
Yeah, like on some rich TV shit. The shorters are watching. The shorters are watching. Yeah, if you get too big and you want to protect your investments, you'll have to move to talking about like Kim Kardashian's ass or something on your channel, and nothing that would affect your investments, which might be the way to do it, man. You know how I do. I'm not
that's
all bunch of
that's my
random shit.
next guess.
Come on.
You're off. Get off the stage. Kim
All right,
Kardashian's coming
we're
on.
done here. No, it's been fun. We probably should wrap it up. We've been going for a while now, but hey, man, we could stream. We should start doing live streams, hopefully with some chats or something, and
Yeah,
actually talk to people.
I'm trying to learn the live stream thing. I did a
Yeah,
like a it's like a schedule thing, and then when you schedule it, you can watch it with the group and you can like chat and stuff. But
sure.
I had it set up and I had technical issues like at the Starbucks I was at. The plug wasn't in. It was like, oh, my thing went down and I was like, fuck, oh, whatever. So it was like a 6 minute video that was like a premiere, but
Yeah,
um like
we
we
do
could
that.
even do that for this. I could try to do that for this. We could do a premiere for this, a scheduled date, and
Yeah,
then
because you could still record, like you could just put up those videos on the channel to be watched anytime, even though you do them live at first, kind of like we're recording this, live, and then you're gonna put a so. Yeah, man. I mean, we'll figure it, but we'll get there. It's cool. I mean, we just got to keep dishing out the real talk,
oh
not
yeah,
the real.
man, we're legit. Anyways, it was a good conversation. We talking a lot about USA, Canada, rappers, NWA, Kim Kardashian, everything. It's all media. The thing is,
Way more to come.
this space isn't gonna get to $1 trillion as I predict until all these sheep, yeah, I'll call them mainstream celebrity sheep, because they ain't
They are.
hopping on that for nothing. Like they weren't thinking about this 20 years ago when it was outlawed.
Right. Hey,
They're
yep.
they're
Yep.
they're there to get the money. Uh,
They
so
just ride what's hot and they stick their name and face to it because someone throws a check at
so
them, and that's it. They're not forward thinkers or brilliant thinkers or anything. They're just collecting the money. So that's why you got to be ahead of everyone by figuring out the things that no one else is looking at. Be your
yeah.
own insight.
Yeah, thanks for the contributions today, Scott. It was a great conversation. We'll do this some other time. And then I'll talk to you after this. Keep compounding your info and listen to my lingo. Capice, shaka. Surfing
Ah,
town. You gotta go surfing in Cali, man. Going back to Cali.
uh, I'll consider it. I don't have a board though, so I might have to buy back my board that I sold to a homie like years ago.
Okay, okay.